realtors and loan officers can learn from these strategies and some of the technologies that we're implementing to stay in close communication with clients. And I'm going to close out, as I mentioned. Grant is going to walk us through the HomeBot system, which is one of the coolest technologies I have seen to increase connectivity with your clients into perpetuity, like forever. So before I go on to the next slide here, I just quickly want to start with the story of buying my first house. When I was 19 years old, I bought a condo on Honeywood Cove Lane in Cottonwood Heights, and my realtor was Realtor Dave. And I remember Dave had a really cool Cadillac, and I'm 19, right? So I'm super impressed by anybody who has any business acumen and is like out there killing it. So I'm watching Realtor Dave, and he did everything right. He advised me. He actually told me to pause and not buy a house for 6 more months because the market, just didn't have what I was looking for. I felt like every step of the transaction, he had my best interests in mind and had a ton of integrity. And I'll never forget, on his business card, it said, Dave, I won't tell you his last name, your realtor for life. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. He's going to be my realtor for life. Holy cow, this is cool. Like, this guy's got it. And so then the closing came. I got into my new house. We signed at the title company. And then guess what happened to Realtor Dave?
You
never heard from him again. Never, ever. Not one time did I hear from Realtor Dave. Like, I'm thinking we're going to have beers. He's going to come over. We're going to do hot wings and watch football or something. I don't know. He's going to help me, give me remodel advice. Literally nothing from Dave ever. So, what I'm aware of is, in today's world, we don't have enough sellers in the market. We need more inventory. More than ever, we need to stay in communication with our past clients. So what I want to answer with this presentation is, how do you and I continue to add so much value to our clients' lives that they always come back to us when they need advice on all things debt, if you're in my camp, and all things real estate, if you're in your camp? So that's what I hope to share with you today. And by doing that, I'm going to share some things around NEO and our business philosophy. But what I want you to try to do is not think, oh, that's a mortgage thing. Think about, how can I transmute what Josh and NEO are doing in the loan space into my real estate practice? Because obviously there are massive parallels here. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to just move this picture off to the side.
Hey, Josh, while you're pausing here for a second, I know we've got people on here from multiple states. Is this applicable for all of them, or is this a Utah thing?
For sure.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
100%. This is applicable in any state. In fact, we lend in all 50 states. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so NEO Home Loans. First of all, the logo is not an accident, all right? We wanted to communicate right out of the gate to our clients that we're interested in creating relationships that stand the test of time, hence the hourglass, or kind of the infinity symbol. But we want to create relationships where we are an advisor and we are in your life into perpetuity forever. So we believe that the mortgage industry is very transactional. It's very interest rate focused. I could potentially say that the real estate market is transactional by and large, and it might be commission focused. That kind of might be the litmus test that clients sometimes judge us. Hey, what's your rate? Hey, how much are you going to charge me in terms of commission? And we believe that there is very little strategy for staying in buyers' lives long term and continuing to add value to that client after closing. So our mission is to create relationships that continue to add value after the loan closes. The slogan that we go by is, if we're doing our job right, the loan closing is just where our relationship begins. That's where we start this relationship and partnership and start showing up for clients and starting to add value. And of course, I'm going to share with you some of the tools that we use. Before I go on to the tools that I want to share with you that we're using, let me just pause for a second. Let me ask a question. What are the challenges that you're experiencing in building relationships and adding value to clients post-close? So what are you seeing in your world that's causing you to not continue to add value and have communication post-closing?
I think for a lot of people and a lot of the agents that I work with, and the feedback I've gotten is saying the right thing, having the right value to add to reach out to them, so it doesn't sound like they're just looking for another transaction on them and they're looking at them as a client, because we don't want our clients to be called a client, right? If we've closed a transaction with them, damn it, they better be our friend by then, right? And we're considering them family. They're just not a client. And if you refer to them as in your database and your client appreciation, I don't like that. Let's go with friends and family. So I think having the right message to actually get in touch with them is a big one.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I want to comment on that, but anybody else have anything else along those lines they want to add for color? I know for me personally, it was the fear of showing up like a leech. Like, I remember at one time I went to get some financial advice from like Northwestern Mutual. And after I went through their presentation, they locked me in a room with a sheet where they wanted me to put down all my friends' names and phone numbers and email addresses. And it just felt very usury. And I know personally that I never want to call a client with the undertone of, I'm calling because I need money, right? And I think that is, if we don't have anything to bring of value, that is a major prohibitor of us continuing to build on the relationship. So that I'm in the same camp, Jeff. You nailed it for me. So I'm gonna with that share with you some of the things that we do, to build the consultative advisor positioning right from the beginning of the relationship, and B, to continue to be able to add value so that we are the most valuable person in our clients' lives when it comes to finance and their wealth overall. There we go. All right. So the three main platforms that we utilize, these are technology platforms, are Mortgage Coach. And that's something that is mortgage specific, but by virtue of you using a loan officer who uses that platform, by extension, you get the benefit of that platform. HomeBot, which Grant's going to run, I'm going to just do a really quick overview of that product. And then I'm going to turn it over to Grant at the end to show how that can be co-branded for realtors and to continue to drive stickiness with clients and value and have reasons for conversation. And then we're going to talk just a little bit about Sales Boomerang, which is another technology that we utilize. And I would just say that, now more than ever is the time to stay connected to past clients. I've had more clients move twice in like 2 to 3 years than I can ever remember in the history of my career, because COVID has changed so much for us. All of a sudden we're working at home. We don't have to be close to Salt Lake City or wherever our city center is. Kids are at home. There's so much change that's happening in our lives that the connectedness now to past clients, I think, is more important than ever. So this first tool that I want to show you is the Mortgage Coach Total Cost Analysis. And this is really how we drive connection and how we drive advice with our past clients, or excuse me, with all of our clients. So this is a total cost analysis. Just move this out of the way. There we go. Bear with me as it refreshes. And you know what? I want to make sure everybody can hear this okay. So I'm going to stop sharing just really quick. I'm going to reshare and I'm going to share my sound as well. All right, there we go.
Hey, Marissa. Hey, Curtis. High five. Great job. Oh my gosh. I mean, getting a home under contract in this market is no easy feat. I think your realtor did a wonderful job, and I'm really excited for you guys. Now, we have a short window for closing. Now, we did that intentionally, guys, because the shorter the window, the more competitive your offer is. And I think that's indicative of the success your realtor had in getting you under contract. But now it's incumbent on us and you.
Sorry, team, you can hear me, but you can't see me. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Heard you great, but whatever you were showing.
How about now?
Yep, now we can see your screen.
All right, perfect.
To move really, really quickly. So I sent the email with a list of items that we need completed and returned. Hopefully you can upload those to our.
Okay, so I just kind of wanted to show you the platform that we send financing proposals on. So we don't send like a one-page loan estimate. We want to start offering advice right from the beginning, and we want to start creating connection. I know that a video like this, where I can start out with,
hey, Marissa, hey, Curtis, high five, great job. Oh my gosh.
That's going to drive a lot more connection than trying to fumble through an iPhone and figure out 3 different fee worksheets and which loan that we're going to do. So number one, I always want to drive connection, and I always want to drive advice right from the beginning of this relationship with a client. I want to walk you through just really quickly a couple of the features of this total cost analysis that we provide to every client. First of all, this is going to show them 3 different potential loan options. So the first vertical column here is going to be an FHA loan. Why do I want to show them an FHA loan, even if that's not the best loan? Because people are interest rate driven. And I want to show them the loan program with the lowest overall interest rate, even if that's not the best loan program for them, but I want to show them options so they don't feel like I'm just giving them the loan that maybe I'll make the biggest commission on. So we show them a 3.5% down FHA. We're going to show them side by side a 3% down conventional. And then we'll show them side by side again a 5% down conventional. We're going to highlight what's most important to this client, which is, what's my payment with taxes and insurance out the door, HOA, what am I into this thing? And what's my cash to close? And then we start having conversations with this client. We take this consultative approach right from the beginning. This particular client was somebody that we just actually closed a home for last month, and they had about $25,000 saved up for a down payment. But when we started asking questions like, okay, what additional reserves do you have? Do you have any post-closing liquidity? Do you have any money set aside? What's going to happen if the furnace goes out or the roof needs to be fixed? Oh, good question. We're going to have to go to financing or credit cards. So we start to ask questions about budget, savings, where they are with their retirement. Have they funded retirement or college accounts for kids? We start to get into that consultative mode rather than just prescribing, here's the loan you should take on my fee worksheet. And we start this relationship from this standpoint that we want to help advise them and make sure that they get the right mortgage strategy. A couple other things I'll just show you about this that we like to highlight is this client told us that, this breaks down the monthly payment difference. So they can see that the conventional loan, even though it had a higher interest rate, it has a $98 less payment. Why do we want to show them that? Because we want to never make sure we get it under contract and then somebody say, hey, my brother just got a 2.5% FHA loan. How come you didn't show me that? We want to nullify that objection up front. So we want to make sure we show them a monthly payment difference between these different options. We want to show them the total savings over the time horizon they plan to be in the home. So this particular client said, I think I'm going to be in this home for 7 to 10 years, which is pretty much industry average. So I said, okay, great. So what we want to do is we want to look at the total cost of each loan over 7 years and then see what the savings differential is one over the other. So then when we get under contract and they say, how come we didn't do the FHA again? I go, oh, because remember we looked at that and this option is going to save you $13,679 over the 7-year period. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, I'm with you. And then the other thing we like to do is we like to show them their net worth. What's the equity in the home going to look like 10 years down the road? Well, how do we do this? Well, this software will go in and show us based on the amortization table what the loan balance is going to be under each of these loan scenarios after 10 years. And then it's going to show them what their net worth is, assuming a 3% property appreciation rate. And team, this is so powerful. I think this is more powerful maybe than ever because buyers get burned out. Like they're tired of making offers, as you know, and if their offer doesn't get accepted, they can get frustrated. So one of the things we want to do is anchor them into that future reality And I'll use scripting like, listen, at some point in the future, you're going to arrive at a title company. And when you go to sell that property after you've purchased the home 10 years down the road, you're going to be really excited at the size of the check that you get. So we want to make sure that when we decide on a mortgage strategy, A, it has the lowest overall cost, but B, it creates the greatest amount of wealth for you. So let's also talk about the amount of wealth you're going to create by making this investment. And know that if it's difficult now to get a home because there's some competition, you're going to get the world's lowest interest rate the country's ever seen, and you're going to have an opportunity to create an astounding amount of wealth. So it's all worth it, as hard as this process could potentially be. So that's how we kind of kick off that initial consultative approach of ours. And then once the client says, Josh, yeah, I really like this 3% down. It gives me a great low payment below $1,800. It has the least amount of cash down. Great. That's the way we want to roll. So then after we do that, they decide, they pick the loan, they close. That's when our job really starts. That's when we really start leveraging technology to continue growing this relationship. So I'm going to get quickly into HomeBot. This is what Grant's going to really nail at the end, assuming that I'm talk fast enough to get there, Grant. But HomeBot is a technology platform that connects to our clients' mortgage, understands the mortgage that we put them in, and it understands the market value of their house, and it sends them a real estate wealth digest every month. I get a quarterly statement from my financial advisor that says how my stocks performed every single month or every quarter. But very few clients get an analysis on how competitive their interest rate is in today's market. Very few clients get a newsletter that shows them how much equity is built up in their home. And furthermore, some ideas on what they could do with that equity. If they wanted to, actually leverage that equity and make other investments or pay down other liabilities, it is essentially a platform that helps me connect, and it drives questions from those clients. And this is the one that I mentioned that can be co-branded. So the question that I have that I think is important for us to think about is, how valuable are you to your clients after the transaction from their perspective? If they don't see you continuing to add value and to enlighten them and to provide them with information, then how can we expect them to use us again? I mean, going back to Realtor Dave, he did a hell of a job. I mean, he did everything that a realtor should do. However, 4 years later, when I went to sell my home, I didn't use him because he was super valuable for the 60 days that I was under contract. And then after I closed, crickets. So that's what this technology aims to cure. All right, and another question I'd pose to you is, what are you doing to drive engagement and conversations post-closing? And I would argue that recipe cards and calendars don't drive engagement. Very little engagement, right? Maybe, but they really don't drive like, holy crap, I didn't realize that. I need to ask Jeff a question about that, right? That's the kind of engagement that we want to drive. So this is just a quick snapshot, team. This is what my Real Estate Wealth Digest looks like. So it's going to tell me the trajectory of homes in my area. It's going to tell me my estimate for my value. By the way, if the client doesn't agree with this, they can just click on a button and ask us for a CMA or for a different opinion. It tells them the net worth or equity inside their home. It tells them how that's calculated. Do you know how many people don't know what equity means? Seriously, like people don't know. Like when I talk through with them, I'll say, okay, so in 10 years, this is going to be the estimated amount of equity in your home. Do you know what equity is? 80% say they don't know what equity is. I mean, they kind of know, but they don't know how to calculate it, right? So this will educate them on how they do that. It shows them how much money goes towards principal, or how much they've paid towards principal, how much they've paid towards interest. It shows them their current mortgage interest rate at 3.375. It shows them what the current interest rates are on loans if they potentially wanted to refinance down to a 15-year at 2.375. It shows them things like what their annual revenue could be if they wanted to rent their house on a nightly rental like Airbnb. So it's all of these things that people might want to know about the seemingly, and in most cases, probably the biggest asset, right? So think about this. We manage the biggest asset for 95% of the population in America, and we manage the biggest debt. We have to stay involved. We have to understand what's going on with their lives and how we can help continue to advise them. So I'm going to leave it there with HomeBot because I know that I want to leave some time for Grant to show how the co-branding works. The other thing that we do to keep in communication with clients, and Jeff, if you want to stop me anywhere, feel free to interject, bud. The other thing that we utilize is called sales boomerang. This technology is bananas. It's almost creepy. Actually, no, it's full on creepy. I'm not gonna lie. And what happens is, and what we found is that clients' lives change so quickly that the mortgage we prescribe to them on day one is maybe only the most ideal debt platform for them for the first 24 to 36 months. Now, that is especially true with the rate of appreciation right now. For example, Jeff, last month you closed a loan with my partner, Ben, that was a jumbo 95% doctor loan. That was the best possible loan for that doctor at that moment to buy a jumbo size loan with the least amount of money and no mortgage insurance. But at the rate of appreciation we're going, in 18 months, that's not the best loan for him anymore. We need to be back in that client's life, showing him how we can dramatically increase his cash flow and reduce his outgoing expenses and build wealth in other areas. So this sales boomerang platform does a couple of things. Number one, if a client has a mortgage inquiry with another company, we get notified so we can reach out to them, see how they're doing. By the way, that can create realtor referrals for you, obviously, because if they got a mortgage inquiry, chances are maybe they're buying another house. We want to get in front of that and see if we can have that opportunity to serve that client again. EPO, that just stands for EPO, early payoff watch. What's crazy is that we see clients buy houses and turn around and sell them and move 3 months later sometimes and not use the same realtor because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to tell the realtor that they didn't like the house, the pit bull next door, or the street out in front was too big of a risk for them and they want to leave, and they're going to use another realtor because they're just embarrassed that they made a bad decision. Well, we get pinged every time there's an indicator that a loan's going to get paid off, if there's a payoff request or if there's a mortgage inquiry. And that gives us an opportunity to send that opportunity back to our realtor partners. Credit improvement watches. So mortgage interest rates get better by about every 20 points that credit improves. So if I put somebody in a loan at 640 credit, I want to know when it hits 660. I want to know when it hits 680. I want to know when it hits 700, because that opens up new opportunities for that client to refinance. Or maybe that just wasn't really the house that they wanted, but they had to settle because Utah Housing was the only solution with a super high payment. But now they have a 780 FICO score. They can go out and buy the house that they really want. Debt and cash out watch. This actually watches their debt levels. And when they start to take on credit card indebtedness that we know probably potentially isn't healthy for their financial situation, we can reach out and say, hey, let's do a global debt analysis. Maybe we could leverage a 2.75% mortgage loan over an 11% credit card loan. Equity watch. So this system monitors the amount of equity in their home, the difference between their mortgage balance and what the estimated value is, to let us know, hey, it's time to get rid of mortgage insurance. Hey, it's time to refinance out of that adjustable rate mortgage. New listing watch. Every time one of our past clients lists their home on the MLS anywhere in the country, bing, we get notified. We get a chance to reach out to them and say, hey, how are you? Let's do that annual loan review. You're moving? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. How can I help? And of course, the interest rate watch. So whenever we see an interest rate shift by about 0.5%, it's going to ping us and let us know. All of this, again, team, is to drive connection, to drive an ability for us to have something to talk about, to step back in that person's life and start to give advice again. Now, let's go down this path a little bit and assume that 18 to 24 months later, they've had appreciation, their credit score is improved, they now have an opportunity to take out a better mortgage. how do we help advise clients? Because again, our goal is to continually advise. Well, let me show you really quickly a quick total cost analysis that we did for a refinance client, because the ability to show people their potential wealth building opportunity with refinancing and investing that savings, or refinancing and then paying back down their mortgage, we can really be a difference maker in our client's life in terms of how we help them become more wealthy if we have the right software and tools to render that advice. So this is a client that we closed within the last 24 months. They had some appreciation, interest rates improved, credit improved, everything went well. And here's the advice that we were able to render.
Hey, Wyatt, thanks so much for the opportunity to earn your business again. Really looking forward to helping you. And based on the analysis I've created, it looks like you're overpaying on your current mortgage strategy by approximately $200,365. So really excited to be able to show you how to save a tremendous amount of money. And my goal in this total cost analysis is to show you two things. Number one, how do we save you the most amount of money? How do we reduce your overall interest expense over the long term? And number two, strategies that can show you how to build wealth, really optimize your financial situation over the long term as well. So to that end, if I can direct your attention to the top left-hand summary section, you'll notice the quote date of January 28th. There's 4 vertical columns. In the far left column, we have your current mortgage strategy. You'll see you have a blended rate between your first and second mortgage of 4.276%, and your payment's $37.57 a month. The second vertical column is if we do a new 30-year fixed. Hey, this is a layup. No doubt this is a great deal for you. It's going to save you $640 per month. And if you look on the right-hand side here where it says savings over 360 months, save you $107,056. Great loan. However, that isn't the best strategy. The next option over is a 30-year fix, same loan as in the second column, but we have you set up your auto payment so you continue to make the same payment you are now. The same payment of $37.57 a month would pay off this loan in 21.75 years. And if you look over to the right, savings over 360 months, you'll see that strategy would save you $200,365. So that's the amount you're currently overpaying on your current mortgage trajectory. Now that is a winning strategy, although I'm not so sure it's the best. If we want to focus on both reducing your interest and increasing your net worth and equity in this home, your wealth over the long term, strategy 4 is probably going to be our best bet. In that strategy, we refinance and reduce your minimum mortgage payment to $3,117. You take the additional $640, you set that up on an auto payment straight to your financial advisor, Wealthfront, whatever platform you use for investing. But the point is, we take the money that was going to your bank in interest, you invest that money, assuming a 6% rate of return, and in the very bottom on the right-hand side, Wyatt, you're going to see that your net worth in that strategy would increase by $643,191, giving you a grand total net worth between your investment vehicle and the future forecasted value of your home of $2,872,272. Now you'll notice why in each of the 4 sections of this total cost analysis,
that number was so big I couldn't even say it. But that was a lot of equity, a lot of net worth. So I'm just going to drive this last point home here. NEO represents the new way of doing home loans. We advise our clients how to pay off their mortgage and consumer debts faster and with much lower cost, while maximizing their real estate wealth. We focus on the long-term wealth strategy over the near-term transaction. And again, this all goes back to Realtor Dave. If 24 months after I would have purchased that home with Realtor Dave, Dave would have been sending me HomeBot. Dave would have had a loan officer that noticed over that time period that I made a lot more money 3 years later after buying my home. I had a tremendous amount of equity. My interest rate was way out of the market, and I really had outgrown my home, but nobody was staying in communication with me. Dave wasn't staying in communication with me. The loan officer that he hooked me up with wasn't staying in communication with me. So when it came to selling my next home, I found somebody, some dude, someone that was the closest time, or the closest person that I met that I knew did real estate. And that's how I decided. So our goal is to always create so much value and so much connection that if your clients ever decide to sell their homes, we're going to know about it and we're going to have an opportunity to send them back to you. All right, with that, I would like to introduce, first of all, team, ladies are going to love Grant, but guys are going to hate this guy. I mean, he looks like an underwear model. He's well-spoken, like the dude's a total package. So, with no further ado, I introduce you, Grant. Got to get this up just for compliance. There we go. Everybody read the small print. Perfect. All right, Grant, I'll turn it over to you, my friend. Show us how we leverage HomeBot to stay connected to clients.
Sounds like a game plan, Josh. Appreciate the introduction. Kind of embarrassed, so I'll try and keep the blushing to a minimum here. But guys, this is Grant Horvath over at HomeBot. Going to go ahead and share my screen. As Josh was pointing out, it's really about being a wealth advisor. It's about being that go-to person in your community, and it's about staying in front of your clients and creating clients for life. So as Josh pointed out, there is an ability to co-sponsor with Neo on HomeBot. And what HomeBot looks like is what you're seeing on your screen right now. Josh went into it a little bit, but this sends out every single month automatically. This engages your clients with customized information specific to their property, and it positions you front and center. So this thing comes directly from your email as the real estate agent. This thing is branded to you all over. Your client knows exactly where to go. And this is positioning you as that wealth advisor, showing your client their value, their equity, every which way they should be thinking about their property. A homeowner makes about 5 to 7 transactions in their lifetime. With COVID, like Josh was saying, that number seems to continually keep increasing in terms of velocity. So you want to stay in front of your clients throughout the life cycle of homeownership. So what this does is it not only helps your homeowner post-close, but it helps your homeowner throughout the entire process as well. They don't just receive HomeBot for their home every single month automatically. They receive HomeBot for their buying experience as well. So homeowners across the nation can actually go in and they can see their specific market, how their market's performing, and they can also look into buying opportunities as well. So if your homeowner is receiving HomeBot every single month, and like Josh said, they have a ton of equity in their property, and maybe they outgrew their home, they can set up their own buyer's experience in HomeBot. They can start looking for new properties. And remember, everything is branded to you as the real estate agent. So if they do have a question about listings in a certain zip code, if they do have a question about their equity, if they want a CMA request because they think the value of their home is off, or because they're thinking about listing, every single one of these questions go back to you, and we position you as that wealth advisor. There's no salespeople on this phone call, except for the one guy in glasses that apparently looks like an underwear model. Thanks, Josh. But there are consultants on this call. There are advisors on this call. So if you want to learn more about HomeBot, or if you want to be co-sponsored on this tool by Neo or by Josh, feel free to reach out to Josh, or you can always reach out to me as well. It's grant@homebot.ai. I'm posting that in the chat box. And it's good to note that this is really sticky content as well. So your clients aren't just going to go into this once a month. Your clients are probably going to go into this about 3 to 4 times a month, because this information is always updating, it's always changing, and it's always pertinent to the situation they're in the homeowner process. And we can put some proof to the pudding there as well. So HomeBot sends out every single month automatically. HomeBot is a set it and forget it system. It's really easy to get your clients locked and loaded on this product, especially post-close. But if you want to be proactive, if you want to prospect, if you want to see where someone's at in their cycle, you can actually look at your activity feed and go in minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, and see what every single person is doing. These aren't just simple actions. These are pointed actions that make it really easy for you to say, wait, HomeBot's providing good content. I've got a bunch of good conversations here. I'm going to reach out to my clients proactively and see what's up. It is a great precursor to reaching out to Josh and team to set up a total cost analysis if you do see a great opportunity. So Josh, I'm going to tap your shoulder too. Proof in the pudding here. Wouldn't you say that most of your clients probably go into their HomeBot every single month?
Well, we get a report. So there somewhere in here, and I don't remember where to find it, but I know when I click on my activity report, it'll show me my open rate. And my open rate for my clients is somewhere around 84%. And that is unheard of in email, in email marketing. Open rates are like 2, 3, 4%, like 5% if you're killing it. But the open rate in HomeBot is off the charts because it comes out, your Real Estate Wealth Digest. It's pretty dynamic. And then the other thing that I get is the activity report. So I get an email that shows, like you said, all right, Martin was viewing homes 3 hours ago. And over the last 30 days, he's viewed markets and multiple other homes. Alan has viewed 20 times over the last 30 days. So it just gives us insight into the mindset of our clients and what they're doing with this tool.
Yeah, absolutely nailed it there. And that's really the bottom line here is good content is going to provide good conversations. If you are consistently every single month providing excellent content, you are positioning yourself as a consultant, you are not pulling a Realtor Dave move, you are getting in front of your clients every single month there. The final piece here is that HomeBot has a lot of lead generation tools as well. So it's not just about engaging your clients every single month. It's not just about staying in front of your buyers. It's about building a larger community, especially positioning yourself. So you get your own customized pages with HomeBot too. You can post these on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can have these at open houses. And anyone that wants to sign up to get HomeBot from you, all they need to do is go to your personalized link, put in their property address and email, or put in their first name, last name email if they're a buyer. They start receiving HomeBot from you every single month. So if you do want to learn more about co-sponsorship, or you want to get co-sponsored by Josh at Neo, please feel free to reach out to him or reach out to Grant at homebot.ai. There's 2 different plans you can choose from. You can actually try out HomeBot entirely for free. There's a free trial. You get up to 25 clients you can upload to check it out. It's awesome. Or you can sign up for the full version, $25 a month. You get up to 500 people you can upload. If you get one listing off of HomeBot, it's probably going to pay for it for about 20 years. Unless you're the guy that is getting 2.3 million after doing the TCA, then it's probably going to pay off for like 100 years. But anyways, guys, Josh, back to you.
Oh, sorry, buddy. My computer froze for a second. I was just going to say, I can't tell you how many opportunities we have got from HomeBot, either to refinance or seeing people involved in searching for homes. And we had to hire a telemarketer because the number of opportunities and the number of active clients inside HomeBot, like it's impossible for me to call that many people. So we started creating, we hired a dialer just to call those people full time and check in and say, hey, Josh asked me to check in on you. How's your house hunting going? Are you enjoying HomeBot? Do you need me help? And the conversations go from there. And then her job is just to set appointments for us to get on the phone and do annual interviews or talk to those clients. Last thing, and then we'll turn this over because I know Jeff and Lynn want to do Q&A and get on with the rest of their presentation. Can you show them the video integration? Because that is dope.
Yes, sir, I can. All right, guys. So there is another piece of the puzzle to HomeBot as well. This is something that we are aggressively building out. And our 2 main focal points going into the next 2 quarters are video and text message. So specifically for video, another component of HomeBot that you can use is, like Josh said, we're getting absurd open rates. When you put your clients into this thing, they're going to check it out. Why not take advantage of those open rates and that great content that HomeBot's providing by putting your own personal touch? So HomeBot actually gets you a video email manager as well. So if you're using YouTube, if you're using BombBomb, if you're using PitchHub, you can actually send customized videos to your clients every single week as well. You can send it to your homeowners, your buyers, or people ripe for refi. And what's great about it is the next time they receive their HomeBot digest, your video is going to be front and center, talking about the market, talking about how they can share HomeBot with friends and family, talking about how they could take advantage of the rates right now, all that equity they have in their property, and leveraging that to maybe trade up. So you can create customized videos that send out every week if you want to, directly with your HomeBot digest, where you can point out where the most important content is, what they should be focusing on, and more importantly, getting your face and your branding in front of them as their advisor. Good point out too, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Grant. You're such a stud. I really appreciate you spending time with us. Team, I just want to close on this note. In closing, imagine if Realtor Dave would have, instead of, that really rad slogan on his card, Realtor for Life, imagine if he would have enrolled me in HomeBot. And then imagine just once a year, he filmed a quick little 60-second video and said, Josh, I just updated the value of your home on 7822 Honeywood Cove Lane, and I can't believe it. You have $100,000 in equity. I'm so stoked for you, man. You crushed it. The timing was great. By the way, your interest rate looks a little high. You might want to have my mortgage guy take a look at it for you. And if you ever want to sell, if you ever have questions about real estate, love to connect with you again. Don't forget, I'm Realtor Dave, your Realtor for Life. Like, how hard would that have been, right? Like, pound out 5 of those a week in 60 seconds. And I promise you, I would have been Dave's client for life. But, didn't happen. But this is a super, super easy, quick solution to cure all those wrongs. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jeff and Lynn. Grant, high five, man. Thanks so much for showing up for us.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Grant. I know you all have some questions. I just got a couple of comments to make first, and then I want you all to be able to have an opportunity to answer your questions. First, my new tag phrase when I need to motivate an agent is "Don't be like Dave." Don't be a Dave. No, that's a great analogy because I think a lot of people fall into that, right? And Grant answered the pressing question I had as you're going through this. It's like, wow, can we load our existing clients on this that didn't go through the approval process and get their loan with you? And then you got to that point. So I was happy to see that. And then I just want to make one comment on the equity comment you made, Josh, because a funny story, and then I'll turn it back over to some Q&A. When Lynn and I went to her 10-year high school reunion, so this is a while ago, there was a lot of conversation after the party or whatever. We're at dinner with a bunch of her friends, and we're excited about real estate, right? We're building a portfolio. We're young and we're excited. And so they're asking us questions because we're so excited. And we're going into all this explanation about equity and our cash flow and, oh my God, in 30 years and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we left after the night and we're all hyped up, and Lynn had left her purse in the restaurant. So she went back in and everybody but us was huddled around the table still. And she went to get her purse and says, oh, I thought you guys were leaving or whatever. She says, no. We're trying to figure out one thing. What the hell is equity? These guys are 10 years out of high school. Many of them had corporate jobs, and they were having a debate seeing who could figure out what equity was.
Dude, when I show somebody that's especially a first-time home buyer, I mean, this is where the needle really moves. When I show them a snapshot 10 years into the future, I get this like deer in the headlights look. And I'm like, you think I'm lying, don't you? And they're like, yeah, 200 grand. Like, that's an unimaginable amount of, equity or cash for me once you tell them what equity is. And I go ask your parents what they paid for their house and what it was worth 10 years later. And go ask your grandparents what they paid for their house. But when you can give somebody, when you can transcend time and show them what their trajectory looks like 30 years down the road or 10 years down the road, that's such an enlightening experience. You become that instant advisor and you transition from the salesperson to the advisor, and that just sinks that connection.
Well, and it solidifies their decision too. It makes them really latch onto why they're doing what they're doing. Right? Sure. We've got tenants in our properties that have been with us over 10 years. Yeah. We've got tenants that we've offered to sell the property to that say no. they just don't get it. So this is beautiful. In fact, people don't know what they don't know, right? And so when you are the person that's enlightening that conversation, it's beautiful. In fact, I was at my mom's on Saturday and we were kind of talking about equity because she paid $26,500 for her home. And I said, could you ever, in your wildest dreams, when you're in your early 20s and paying $26,000 for a house, could you ever imagine if somebody told you it would be worth $100,000 someday? That would just, she says, oh no, it's probably worth 200,000 now. And I said, try 4.
Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, but it's just so hard for people to see that far into the future. And I think that's one of the greatest gifts we can give people that we're advising is, look, this is, regardless of how hard this is right now because of low inventory, regardless of how painful that is to go write an offer and get beat out by another, it's all worth it. I have to get you to see past the short-term pain to the long-term upside. And it's by leveraging tools like this that we can help them do that.
Well, here's another thing. We can also go back. If they can't look forward, we can go back. Like I was just talking about my mom, right?
Yeah.
Lynn and I, our very first property that we bought was $48,000, $48,000, right? It's $300,000 today. So imagine if I had overpaid for that property by 5%.
Right.
And I paid 53 for that property. How stupid would that seem at the time if I was just looking at that snapshot in time? Our goal was, though, to accumulate products that somebody else was going to pay off. I honestly didn't have cash flow requirements. I had cover my debt service. I'm buying it, right?
Yep.
So we can all do that. Okay, I'm done. Who else has questions or comments?
I have a question. So you mentioned sponsors. You need a sponsor. Could you elaborate what that means?
It's like Alcoholics Anonymous. Grant, you want to take that one, bud?
Yeah, of course. So what we mean by co-sponsorship is originally HomeBot was a product just for lenders, but what happened was we got a lot of interest. So a lot of the HomeBot Digest was helping real estate agents secure listings. It was helping them get more engaged with their community and their clients and buyers. So we created a real estate agent version of HomeBot as well. That's what we were talking about. What can send out to your homeowners and buyers every single month automatically. But there's still quite a few parts of the HomeBot Digest that would really benefit from having your loan officer as well, like refinancing, doing cash outs, doing HELOCs. So we created a HomeBot where it is best if a loan officer co-sponsors a real estate agent. So everything that you send out as the real estate agent has your information front and center because your clients, they know you, they love you, they want to see you. But if they do happen to have a question about financing, that is where Josh's information would show up, for example. So co-sponsorship is just all about providing the best possible experience to your clients. The loan officer's information will only show up in the financing sections. And of course, too, your loan officer that's co-sponsoring you on HomeBot also takes half of that cost as well. So it's RESPA compliant too. That's kind of a bit of a better understanding, but I'm always happy to hop on a call with anyone here. And I did put my information in the chat box as well.
Hey, Grant, just a little tip for you. Require co-sponsorship. Do not put this in the hands of real estate agents that do not have a financial person attached to it.
Yeah, and I'll just make a shameless plug. I would love to co-sponsor this with you, Kim and team. Like, absolutely love to. But you don't need me. If you have another lender that you have a great relationship with as a rock star and is better looking than Grant, then just go ahead and reach out to Grant. No, and you could create this with another lender. It doesn't have to be tied to me. But I would love to be that person if the opportunity's there.
Sorry. I just want to say something. In being in business with Josh forever, Josh thinks a lot like we do. And not only is Josh a great lender, but he's also an investor. And I've watched him succeed. And he is like us, where he loves to see other people succeed. So that's why he's doing this. This isn't just to get more loans. This is actually to help people financially. This is, when I look at this, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't teach this enough. This is bred into me, but most people it's not. So, I just dig it. I love it.
Well, I've always said, why don't realtors do a CMA for their clients every single month and send it out? Well, the answer is because it's incredibly time, intensive, and it's just not efficient. This does this in that exact same thing. And the client gets this and thinks like, holy crap, look at all the analytics and all of the data in here. And then to just throw a video message on it or a text message every once in a while, I think is just over the top. It's the best technology I'm aware of.
No, it looked great. And I agree with you. It is creepy.
It's creepy.
Totally creepy. But what a great tool to keep in touch with our clients. Lynn and I, when we were buying properties, we were always baffled because we went through some days and it's like, they never called us back. We're still buying properties. They never called us back. We went through like 7, 8 agents. And then we latched on to Matt. And I think we bought over 40 properties just through Matt because he stayed in our life.
Yeah.
What a great tool and timely for this environment too, with technology and people geek out on this stuff. I love it.
Well, and what else I like is the video goes to those high interactive personalities, because there's a lot of high interactives that don't like the numbers like we do. And so with you doing the video, that captures them. But yeah, not everyone's going to love those numbers like we do, but they will love that communication.
Well, and I think people are, just in closing, because I know I've got a training I've got to jump to, but I think that people are community animals. We are connection animals, and we lose our memory of how that person made us feel. And realtors and loan officers show up in people's lives at an incredibly joyous moment, a triumphant moment for them and their family. But 2 years down the road, they forgot that connection to you, Lynn, because they don't see your smile unless they're connected to you like I am on social media, and then I see your smile all the time. But if they're not, and then when you see that person on a video, you're like, that's why I like Lynn. Now I remember why I like Lynn so much, right? And so I think video is the piece on top of the technology that drives the connection. I think it's really important. Team, I'm going to sign off. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out to me. If there's anything Grant can do for you, please reach out to him. It was a total pleasure to be with you all here today.
Hey, Josh, before you take off, either put your contact info in the chat or pull up your slide that had your contact info on it real quick, and they can take a snapshot of that.
I will do that.
Everybody has that, so I'm not fielding 30 calls.
Self-interest there. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Save me some time, buddy.
You got it. You got it.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. What a great presentation and information and a tool and a resource for agents and lenders. I know we got a lot of lenders on the call too. Like I said, when you asked that question at the beginning, people wonder what to say, how to reach out to their clients. Am I going to seem like I'm looking out for my own self-interest, or am I really offering some value? And you can't argue the value that this has to offer for clients. So I love it.
100%, 100%. Thanks, team. And I'd love to come back at a future date. If there's anything mortgage or real estate related that I can ever add value on, please let me know. Love to see you all again soon.
Thanks, Josh. Grant.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, you guys.